Hi there, welcome back to my channel. I am Rosalind Yukich from Rosalind's Health and Home, and I popped in yesterday to sort of give a health update since we've come back from vacation, and it wasn't like a terribly positive update. Um, I had a couple of ear infections, and that was causing, some sort of stress on my body, and then I'd had a chronic flare up 3 times actually, while we were on vacation once, and then twice since we've been home, with interstitial cystitis, which is sort of like it feels like a UTI, but it's not. It's really inflammation based. And so, and then I talked about how since I've been home, I really feel like I've just had a sort of had a crash with the adrenal fatigue and everything like that. And so I talked about how I'm going to be resolving that, and I'm doing that with fasting. Well, I got the idea today to talk about 7 ways that fasting has really helped me and why I really do a lot of fasting. And then I'm going to talk about uh, what my fasting schedule is. I'm actually going to show you what I have written out. I actually sat down last night and made out a calendar for myself. So first, let's talk about the 7 ways that fasting has really helped me personally with my health. Now, I am a Christian. I'm an evangelical Christian, and the Bible talks a lot about fasting from a spiritual perspective. I believe anything that God gives us in the Bible has really sort of like dual benefits, right? It has benefits for us physically, but also has benefits for us spiritually. And I believe it's the same way with fasting. So I'm talking about in this video the physical benefits of fasting. But I try to, when I do my fasting, I really try to bring in a spiritual aspect as well. So for me, even though I am fasting for my physical health, I'm also fasting for my spiritual health. And I keep saying this, but one day I'm going to be popping by in a video and talking about how, the two really parallel, and how, the physical benefits that we feel from water fasting. And by fasting, I really mean water fasting, where you completely abstain from food and you drink water, herbal teas, and coffee. Um, and that's it. Um, but how the benefits that we feel physically are really sort of mirrored spiritually. And so the first benefit that I have experienced from fasting may surprise you if you've never tried fasting before, if you're a little skeptical of fasting. But the first benefit that I have experienced is increased energy. I actually find that when I'm fasting, and even if it's just intermittent fasting, where I stopped eating at 3 and I'm not going to eat again until, like, say between, 10 and, 2 p.m., somewhere in that window, depending upon how much I tend to expand that fasting window. I actually have really, I notice that my energy is picked up during those times when I'm not eating in my not eating window. It's more amplified the longer I fast. So, if I do 36 hours, if I do 48 hours, if I do 72 hours, I've even gone up to 90 hours. It's been the max number of hours that I fasted so far. The longer I fast, the more my energy just continues to pick up. And you would sort of think that, well, your blood sugar levels are dropping, so you're going to be weak and you're going to be, muddled and all of that. And really it's just the opposite. And I'm going to talk about the key to these benefits in fasting as opposed to feeling the opposite. So people tend to think, well, you're not going to have fuel, and so your energy levels are going to drop. Well, for me, actually, it's the opposite. My energy levels pick up. The second benefit that I have experienced is lowered inflammation in my body. And so this is when I'm talking about the interstitial cystitis, um, I noticed that that actually stays away. And the more I fast, the longer it stays away. And I have noticed that whenever it's come back, it's sort of two pronged. It's when I'm not watching the food that I'm eating, so I've gone off of keto. Um, but then also dehydration, which I'm going to also, which, well, let's go ahead and, so I don't forget to bring this up, but one of the ways that you can mitigate that, not only with just, water, obviously, and not, water substitutes, so not coffee, not tea, even herbal teas, but just good water. It does lower inflammation in the body because it's your body is cleansing itself while you're fasting. Your whole entire body goes through a cleansing process, and so it's cleansing out all of that junk from that icky food that you're eating, and in particular seed oils. And I really stay away from those seed oils personally. I stick to olive oil and coconut oil. Those are the two, and butter, of course, and animal fats. So those are the four types of fats, like, oily type fats that I consume: coconut oil, olive oil, butter, animal fat. Okay, so increased energy, lower inflammation. The third one is that it has helped to resolve chronic symptoms. Now, keto was really the first step to this. When I went on keto, my chronic symptoms just started to fall off one after another. My migraines went away, my excruciating stomach pains went away, my skin eruptions went away. There were so many chronic symptoms that started to really go away as soon as I started keto, and and then the more stubborn ones are starting to fall off as I have been doing intermittent fasting and long-term fasting. So my chronic symptoms are going away. And why is that? That's because my insulin is forced to stay low. I'm not having insulin spikes, obviously, while I'm fasting. And because of that, then it is bringing all of my hormones back into balance, and my chronic symptoms are just starting to fall off. So the fourth one is inch loss. Now, notice I didn't say weight loss. I actually don't have as much weight loss while I'm fasting and combining that with keto, but I'm having inch loss. So it's not necessarily reflected on the scales, but it's reflected, in my clothes fitting better, and of course measuring, my hips, my waist, my abs, my bust, and I do arms and legs, those five places. And I've noticed the inch loss. And I believe that a big reason for this is while you're fasting, your body is feeding on the fat on your body. And for the most of us, we have that in good supply. So, it's feeding on that. That's where it's deriving its energy from. But then with the keto, it does promote good muscle tone. And so, an inch of muscle weighs more than an inch of fat. And so there you go. That's why you see maybe not the weight loss, but you do see the inch loss. Number five is because it's giving me more control over my food. I have noticed that even when I go off plan, and for those of you who maybe really struggled with a food addiction, you know that when you go back to the old foods, you tend to be like, I'm just going to eat all the things because I know that eventually I'm going to have to go back on plan, and I'm going to have to control myself. So I'm just going to go ahead and just give in to everything and eat all the things. And I've been there where I've even literally eaten candy that I don't like just because I just wanted that sweet in my mouth. And I've noticed that I don't do that when I have been fasting for a while. It's like I just don't, I was like, nah, I don't need that. And building that control of, when you're fasting, you're rejecting all food and you're just like, nope, I don't want that. Or maybe you do want that. It's like, nope, I'm not going to do that right now. And so you're building up that discipline muscle so that when you actually do go off plan, you even going off plan, what you're eating more intentionally. And I've even begun doing this when I am in my eating window and I'm sticking to keto and I get like a food craving, what I do is I tell myself, um, I'm going to wait for a half an hour. I'm going to wait to eat that for a half an hour. And if after a half an hour, I really, really do want to eat that, I may go ahead and eat that. And it makes eating that intentional. But usually after a half an hour, I've really talked myself out of it because I'm telling myself, do you really want to go backwards? Do you really want, do you really want to do this? And so giving myself permission to go ahead and eat that thing in a half an hour. So I'm giving that delay, but I'm giving that permission. Usually I'm able to talk myself out of it. And that again is helping to build that discipline muscle. So I'm less inclined to binge on stuff that I don't need. So we said increased energy, lowered inflammation in the body, the chronic symptoms going away, inch loss, more control over, um, you know, bad food choices. And then number 6 is I'm so much more clear headed. It is unbelievable how clear my thinking is, how clear headed I am when I am fasting. It's the same with keto. And the reason for that is the ketones, which are able to pass, those are chemicals in your body that your body releases. When it goes into a state of ketosis, which is not the same as ketoacidosis. Ketoacidosis is dangerous. Ketosis is really healthy for your body. Ketosis are the chemicals that are released that your body using its fat energy stores for, body energy, and they are able to pass through the blood brain barrier. It really just brings clarity to your thinking. And so I'm so much more clear headed. I'm going to talk a little bit about that here in just a moment. But number 7 is I just don't eat less. I actually might, it's not that my appetite goes down, it's that the amount of food that I'm able to eat is just, the quantity of food. I'm not able to eat as much, obviously, because my stomach has shrunk. And so I'm not able to eat as much. So I've noticed that, when I very first started keto and intermittent fasting, I would actually make myself a giant salad. I eat tons of salad, y'all. I eat salad probably every single day. Any meat that I make for my family gets thrown into a huge salad for me, and that's what I eat. But I used to make salad in this bowl. Now, this is a serving dish. And so, I was eating, and it was probably, healthy for me. I was eating, fresh vegetables and, throwing a good meat on there, putting a healthy fat on there, and I would eat the whole thing. And I was doing one meal a day. So I wasn't eating that, eating that plus other food during the day. But I've even noticed that even doing OMAD, one meal a day, I can't eat that big of a salad anymore. I've gone down to a usual sized plate. So you may say, well, you might not be getting all your calories in eating one meal a day and eating just a one meal portion size. I'm going to go ahead and link to a video below by Dr. Jason Fung, who's talking about if you are fasting for weight loss, you don't want to put all of your meals into that and, replace that meal skipped and put it into the meals that you are eating in your eating window. You don't want to do that because you are defeating yourself. The whole point of fasting for weight loss is skipping a meal so that your body feeds on its own energy stores. So you want to keep that meal skipped. Don't try to add it back in somewhere. So, and that it's fine. It's healthy. I actually feel really, really great. I don't feel like, as you can see with all of these symptoms, it's not like I'm feeling like I have some sort of vitamin deficiency or anything like that. Feeling really, really well and healthy and all of that. So how is it that I can fast and I don't have decreased energy? I don't have muddled thinking. I'm not getting sick and all of this stuff that people typically think happens to you when you fast. Well, the key is being in ketosis. That is the key. When your body runs on glucose for energy, not eating is going to cause your energy levels to drop. It's going to cause you to have, muddled thinking, where you're just not clear headed. You overall do not feel well. A lot of times you get flu-like symptoms and things while you're fasting. And that is because your body doesn't have that energy store of glucose to run on. You're not feeding it, those carbs, the sugar, and things that it typically runs on. And so now it doesn't have its energy source. Now it's having to move on to a new energy source. So all of those negative symptoms that you get from fasting is your body attempting to switch over to a different energy source, and that would be fat. But when you're in ketosis, that's already happened. If you are on keto, that's called keto flu. It's called keto flu because that's what it feels like. It feels like you have the flu. You just feel, lethargic. Thinking is all clouded. You feel sick. You feel, sometimes you actually feel nauseous. And that is keto flu. If you're already in ketosis, you've already gone through that process. Your body already knows where the energy sources are that it needs. And so it just automatically turns to that fat and it feeds. And you actually genuinely, from about day 2 and 3 on, you don't even really feel hungry at all because your body is feeding. And actually, there have been times when during a fast, I'm feeling so hungry and I drank some water and it's not helping. I put a little, pink Himalayan salt under my tongue or, drink it with my water and it's not helping. And so I tell myself, if I continue to feel not very well in a half an hour, I'm going to go ahead and break my fast. You have to listen to your body, and especially being women, with all of our hormone fluctuations and everything, we really have to pay attention to things. And so, there have been times when I genuinely just did not feel well. My body was saying, stop it. And so I ended my fast early. And that's okay. There's nothing, nothing to be ashamed about with that. But there have been times when I just give myself a half an hour, building that discipline muscle, right? And I say, okay, if I still feel really, lousy after half an hour, I'm going to go ahead and break my fast. I wait a half an hour and actually feel great. Why? Because my body was like, oh yeah, okay, I know how I can start feeling better. I'll just turn to that Thanksgiving dinner from like 1998 that's still sitting there, and I'm going to eat on that. And then my body's like, okay, we're great. When you are in ketosis, when you have trained your body to turn to its own fat stores that it already has, it's been storing here for like decades, right? Then it's, you get to experience these positive aspects of fasting. Now, before I end this video, I wanted to show you what I'm going to be doing. Now, I this is a plan on paper. My experience, and I love to plan on paper. I really love to plan on paper. I'm this list person. I'm like the calendar person. I write it out. I'm old school. It has to be on paper. And so, but one thing I have learned in all of my years on planet Earth is that what is on paper and what happens in real life really often are not the same. It doesn't always go this way, but it helps me to at least have a plan on paper. So when I show you this, don't freak out. This is just a plan on paper, right? So here is my calendar. So what I have done is I've planned out through the end of August. So from starting today through the end of August, this is my calendar for keto and fasting. I'm only doing 1 meal a day, but that one meal is going to be super nutritious, just packed with all kinds of nutrients and all of, just all kinds of vitamins in my food. And of course I'm taking, vitamins and things like that. But then what I'm doing is this weekend, actually starting at about between 2 and 3 today, starting a 72-hour fast. And then I'm going to eat on Monday. That will be my first meal for my fast. But then I'm going to be starting alternate day fasting. So I'm every Tuesday through the end of August, I'm going to be fasting. Every Thursday through the end of August, I'm going to be fasting. And then on Saturdays, either from last meal Friday through to first meal Monday, I'm going to be doing a 72-hour fast. It's every other weekend, or on the alternate weekends, I'm going to be fasting on Saturday. So that's my plan. Now we all know, you get invited out places, with people. If my husband has a day off and he's like, hey, let's go take the kids to town and we'll eat out. Um, or a birthday happens, a holiday happens. So there aren't really any holidays in here that we're going to be celebrating, or birthdays for that matter. But things crop up, right? Unexpected things crop up. And so it's easy to shift and move it. Nothing is set in stone. Also, if you get sick, if your body just isn't responding well, it's very flexible. I am very flexible with my fasting, and I'm very tuned into what's happening in my body. And I don't feel ashamed for cutting a fast short if my body's not cooperating. And so this is just a plan on paper. This is helping my body just use those fat stores. It's got it there. God created our bodies to store fat for times when we are not able to get the food that we need. But we now live in a culture where that rarely ever happens, unless if you live in a third world country. I don't. If you're listening to this video, chances are you don't either. And so that's not really going to happen for us. But because our body was created this way, also because what we have been told for decades is the right way to eat is actually the wrong way to eat. Our body has chronically stored that fat because we have the way that we've eaten, the types of foods that we've eaten, what we have been told through my plate is the right way to eat has actually helped our body to just chronically store this fat until we have just become unhealthy with it. And you know what we need to do is we need to go, maybe put less here and help my body just use up what it already has until we get back to a place where we have a, healthy fat storage on our body. And, fat is not unhealthy. It's just fat in a large quantity is not healthy. Our body needs that fat. It just doesn't need it quite as much as it has it at the moment. So that's what this plan is to do. Meals that I have on here, I have lots of salads because I love my salad. Like I said, my cabbage crack, or basically cabbage roll in a bowl. I'll leave a link to my recipe for that below. That's on there. Also beef bowl with zucchini. I have lots of zucchini because I have a garden this year, and so doing a lot of shredded zucchini or zoodles and just throwing some ground beef on that, maybe seasoned with Mexican seasonings, or even Chinese type seasonings. Throw that on there, and that's really great. Drizzle a little bit of olive oil on it or put a pat of butter on it, and it's so good. Hamburger salad. When I make hamburgers for my family, I make a hamburger for myself, throw on some real cheese, not cheese slices, or not the, American cheese. Throw some real cheese on top of it, throw that on a bed of salad, drizzle some, mayonnaise and mustard on it, and you're good to go. Even a little bit of ketchup. Sometimes it's really delicious. A BLT salad. So don't put the BLT on your bread, on your toasted bread. Just throw that bacon and lettuce and some avocado. Ooh, that's so good. Throw it on a salad. You can make like a dressing to go on top. I make all my own dressings. Also, like a taco bowl or like a taco salad, Italian salad. I'll throw that in a link as a link below in the description for my non-pasta Italian salad. It is so good. And everybody who's ever eaten it, keto, not keto, everyone in between, it is, whenever I bring that to a potluck, it's gone. It's gone. It's gone in like seconds. Everybody loves it. So whether or not you're keto, you're going to love it too. Also, I have in here, let's see, I have tuna salad. So just making I just mix up a can of tuna with some chopped pickles and green olives, and then I throw that onto a bed of a lettuce with some tomato and avocado. And I love blue cheese. I eat blue cheese like crazy. I go through it all the time. Also feta cheese. I love it. It's so delicious. So yeah, and then you just throw the tuna on top of that, drizzle some olive oil on it. It is so good. It's great for summer because you don't have to cook anything. And so no having to turn the stove on. So that is, some of the meals that I'm going to be having over the next 7 weeks. This is actually exactly 7 weeks of extreme fasting. I say extreme fasting, that sounds very negative. Um, you know, well, it is a little bit extreme for me, and then good keto food. So it is a very much a healthy combination of eating healthily, eating good, nourishing foods for my body, and on top of fasting a lot to help my body just tap into those energy stores, promote that wonderful increased energy, wonderful increased clarity, and overall wonderful feeling in my body. So I know this has been a longer video than I normally do, but I just wanted to show you what I'm doing, talk about the benefits. So now you know why I talk about this so much on my channel, is because it has been a huge game changer for me in my health and getting me to feeling wonderfully and looking great, feeling great, and just being great all the way around. So if you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. Be sure to share it with your friends. Follow my channel if you haven't followed me yet, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.